Okay, this is what happened. Um, it was around 2 p.m. today. It is 5:54 p.m. now. At about 2 p.m., Paul went outside. He put something into the van, and when he came back in, he just opened the door wide, talking to me, not paying attention to the dog. And before he knew it, the dog ran out the door. He ran after the dog. I ran after the dog. We both ran after the dog. Then the dog just escaped from him. He wanted to be free. I ran after the door, stayed open with money, everything, purses. Paul just grabbed the van, drove after the dog. I ran as down the whole street. I wasn't even dressed properly. And I just saw the dog running and running and running and running. And there was no way we could possibly catch him. So I came back to the house. I got dressed. I put my backpack. I put everything into the backpack because I have to have my hands free. I locked the door. I ran. I walked out looking for the dog. Then I saw the van coming around the corner over there. I was hoping he had found him, but he didn't. I got in the van. We drove around the whole town all day long looking for him. Paul would gas and brake, gas and brake, gas and brake. Back up, drive forward. I have a nauseated headache now. I'm in absolute shock. We could not find him. We asked many, many, many people. I gave a lady my card with my email address if she sees him. I imagine seeing him everywhere, like I see a rock somewhere. I say, you gotta back up, you gotta drive in there. I gotta see what that is. Oh, it's just a rock. Looked like a dog. There was a cardboard box, just in the same color. And an empty lot. We drove down the other road to come from the other side, looking over the fence. It was just a cardboard box. I saw dog feet under someone's car. Could have been him, who knows? I say, there's a dog behind that car. Let's go look. And then we looked, and that's not him. And it's just, every dog we saw, we had to look closer. I got out of the van many times. Would be walking behind hotels and stuff like that. looking for him. See, people with their dogs on the beaches. None of those were him. The big, beautiful, extraterrestrial pumpkin head dog. Gone. Ran off. Lightning speed. Way too fast for Paul and me. We only had him for like 4 days. I said to Paul earlier, we had him for a year, then it would be even worse. It would be light years worse. This is already shocking. This is already so bad that I feel like overdosing. I feel like I don't even feel this. I don't want to feel this pain. It's particularly hard on me. Because this makes me worry. I don't even know where he is and what's happening to him. I pray to the Blue God all day long. Blue God, please look after my baby. Please make a good mother or father find him and protect him and rescue him. Someone kind-hearted, please find him and take good care of him, love him and protect him and keep him warm. I miss him. He's gorgeous. I love kissing his head, his big head, the big, huge, like elephant head with a dent in the middle. The smell. I needed the smell of a dog so desperately for over 2 years, grieving for the papa dog, missing the smell of a dog. And we find one, and we love him. He slept in bed with us, and then he runs away. And the strange thing is that from the beginning on, I had this psychic intuition that he was not gonna be with us for very long. And I tried to suppress that idea. But I kept saying, Blue God, whatever happens, make sure that he's safe. Make sure that he's protected. Make sure that he doesn't have to suffer. We can't have a fast dog. We can't. Not gonna work. I feel like now at this point, I feel like if a hater wants to come over and shoot me in the head, go ahead, do it. Shoot me right in here. Make it quick. I started to become happy with him. I felt happiness again. A happiness sense that I hadn't felt in over 2 years. A sense of lightheartedness and an easygoingness and less obsessive thinking, you know. I had a baby again, and the baby left. I took a bunch of PRS Japonica already. I'm gonna take more later. I took about 10 leaves. I'll take more later. Wherever you are, baby, Blue God protects you. Well, what we learn now from those types of things. Also, the Papa dog, when we first got the Papa dog, many years ago. It was in 2017. Like the third or fourth day when we had Papa, he ran off. Because, and it both times happened because of Paul's recklessness. He's very reckless. He's not, he doesn't mean to be reckless, but he is I don't know how to word it. I don't know. I don't know how to word it. I want to word it without being too judgmental. He's a little bit. Well, he's totally unmindful, first of all. Unmindful, reckless, out of having too many thoughts at once, reckless out of being over anxious and over controlling. When people are over controlling, they become unmindful. Just the way he was driving today, also, I would never drive like that, no matter what the situation is. And when the papa ran off, what happened there? He put a way to loose neck collar on the papa. That wasn't working out at all. It was crazy. And I told him not to do this. I told him to use the chest harness from Kenny. And he said, oh, he doesn't have to have that on in the house or in the garden. But then he takes them down to the mailbox like that, with a loose neck collar. And the papa had an arrowhead, like extra narrow, like the opposite of Elon. And so what happened was, as he got down to the mailbox, the papa saw an animal in the brush and got excited, because that's what they do. They run after animals. The basset hound. They were bred for that purpose, to run after poultry. Hunting dogs, really. And he drew himself out of that collar very, very easily. And then, without collar, ran after that animal all the way down the street. And then into a forested area. And Paul could not keep up with him. Even with the European basset hound, he can't keep up with him. Once they get running after an animal, they're unstoppable. So then he came back and hollered at me, the papa got loose, we have to go in the van, we have to go drive over there. And we did. Drove down the street, got out in front of someone's house, and I kept hollering. He said he ran down into that forested road area, and I kept hollering, David, come back, David, come back. The guy came out in socks out of his house. What's going on? You're looking for your dog? Yeah. And I kept hollering, David, come back. And he did. He came back. He saw that guy in socks and Paul and me. And he came right into Paul's arms. And Paul was able to put the chest harness on him very quickly. Oh gosh, man. And I was so grateful. You cannot imagine. But with this dog, this is a very smart and very fast dog. The American Bully. And we underestimated this situation completely. We can, when we have him on the leash and on the chest harness, we can both hold him. I'm not so sure about Paul though, but I think if he's not distracted with something else, he could probably hold him. But once he is loose, there's no way we can catch up with him. We might be able to run after a European Basset Hound when the dog is on the sidewalk or in an open field. Not when they get under brush or, that's what they were bred for, get under low brush and stuff like this, where you can't follow them. But the papa came back, see. Paul said Elon was very, very elusive, and he tried to do everything he could to get away from him. He wanted freedom. He must have been locked up, like in prison, for his whole life. And then at the animal shelter as well, of course. And he craved to be in freedom. He just craved freedom. The problem is they cannot feed themselves, they cannot protect themselves in the world of humans with traffic and all of that. With gang people and violent people and other dogs, dangerous roads and all of that. How is he gonna find food or water? His hair is like 3 millimeters long, like this, like velvet. He's almost naked. How is he gonna make it through the night, wherever he's going? And I am so terrified for him. I'm so scared, so worried. It is what it is. This is my life. This is all a part of my life. I gotta be honest with you. I don't think I can stay here anymore. I already knew this for a very long time. I've already been very worried about getting another dog, living with Paul. I've been very worried about this, about his recklessness, thinking, this mental confusion, it's just gonna get worse from now on. He's 65, it's just gonna get worse. He doesn't listen to my health advice at all. He eats junk food. He doesn't drink enough water, fluids, doesn't drink enough tea. I drink tea like all day long and water. I know how important that is. He doesn't. I keep telling him, you need to drink more water, more tea. And then he has like a cup. He will have a cup, a plastic cup in the refrigerator with this much juice or something or water in it, like this much. And then he'll take that out and he'll drink like 2 sips of it. And then he puts it back in the refrigerator. And then there's this much in it. And these flimsy plastic cups, they tip over very easily. They constantly tip over. So you have to like really carefully pull something out of the refrigerator to avoid these and there's not just one flimsy plastic. There the whole top shelf, all of it full of these flimsy plastic cups with a little bit fluid in it, and he doesn't even drink that. And it's like this, like a sort of like a mind fog already. Everything is mind fog. The whole lifestyle, everything is jumbled up, total chaos. If I didn't clean the house, it would in no time become cluttered up, clustered up. Wouldn't be able to find anything. Rats would make tunnels in his stuff. I care about him, but I'm not cut out to be someone's nurse. I know the haters have already listened in on our fights and all of that. And I seriously doubted that anyone, or any of the haters or anyone I know would have nerves out of steel in order to be constantly like this, like a physician or something. There are people who love working with demented and older people and stuff like that. That's not me. It's certainly not me. I could never do that. I get mad. I mean, if the person is ultra sweet and grateful and nice all the time, that's a completely different story. I'm not even talking about that. I could be a nurse for someone who is always sweet and who doesn't defy my medical orders, my advice, who doesn't get mad, who doesn't start arguing, someone who is nice and says, yeah, I'm gonna try that, okay. My mother, for example, my mother has dementia. She's just like Joe Biden, same age, same situation. My brother's taking care of him, of my parents, of my mother and dad. And one time my mother listened to me and I said, you need to make tea from the ginkgo. They have a ginkgo tree. It's from Japan. that will help with your memory. One time she did it, and my dad went on and got her a bunch of ginkgo supplements also. They always like to spend money. Just taking the leaves from the tree, that's not working for my parents. No, it has to go out and buy a bunch of. They have a tree. They can just make tea with that in utmost abundance. But okay. But anyway, she did this with the tea from the leaves and from the supplements. Did that for like 2 weeks. And man, that memory increased. And she was like young again. I could have normal conversations with her. She was also nicer. But then she forgot to take the ginkgo, and the memory lapsed back into bad memory and into anger, trollish behavior and all of that. And I kept saying, you need to make ginkgo tea from the ginkgo leaves, and she'd get mad if I suggest. So it just went downhill from there with my mother. And with Paul too, if I say you need to drink more tea, you need to drink rhododendron tea, then he would never have gotten that other virus. And it was only in the beginning stage, but he lost his sense of taste. Before it got really bad, he finally listened and drank rhododendron tea, and instantly the symptoms, the flu symptoms went away like within 1 hour of drinking the tea. That's how powerful it is. And he only drank the tea like 2 times, and the flu went completely away. But he still has only like a percentage of his sense of smell and taste left. He didn't listen to me, So if people would listen to me, would make things so much easier, right? But it has to get bad first, before they give it a shot. So, okay, well, that's their lives, It's his life. The problem is, I live here too. The problem is, our dog is also my dog. If he opens the door recklessly, if he doesn't open the door a gap first to see, is the dog by the door? Okay, let me quickly grab the back of the chest harness. That he had the chest harness on him for safety reasons, all non-stop, 24 hours. Could have opened the door a gap, grabbed the chest harness, made sure the dog is not running out, closed the door, closed the latch, and then things would have been good. But no, he comes back in, talking to me, not paying attention, opening the door wide. Forgot, huh? Oh, we have a dog now. Talking to me about something. And the dog chasing at the door, squeezing through. He tried to close the door in time, wasn't able to. The dog was already halfway in the door and got out, and there's no way he could catch the dog. Okay, it is what it is. It was his fault. I blame myself to the point of where I can say, I needed to have the dog on the leash. Okay. Here in the living room, basically. I needed to have the dog on the leash in the living room. That's what I needed to do. Now I know. But can you live like this? No. You live with your dog in your house, and you have your dog on the leash in your house at all times, no matter what you do. You go to the bathroom with the dog on the leash. Whatever you do, you go in the kitchen, you make tea, dog on the leash. You trip on the leash, okay. You have to become more mindful with every movement you make. The way you walk, the way you set your foot. And that's what I kind of learned now. Okay. First of all, I'm not gonna get another dog with Paul until I have my own house. I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. If I had a dog, if someone gave us a European Basset Hound now, of course I would not. Of course I wouldn't say, no, we can't have a dog anymore. If someone came to the door and gave us a European, fully European Basset Hound, of course, bring him in. We take him. I take him, okay? And I will have that dog on the leash in my house at all times. At least here, dining room, living room, okay? There are 2 doors. One door over there to the hallway and one door to the kitchen from the dining room. So I would probably let the dog off the leash after I close both of those doors. And then I would tell Paul, if you want to go shopping or go to the van, you have to go through one of those doors and close the doors behind you and make sure the dog is not in this area. And then go out, okay? But even then, I don't know if I can count on him, whether he's going to actually follow up with that and think about it. His mind is so crowded, right? Crowded with anxieties and fear. And also, he suffers, okay? He suffers from the fact that he views this as our relationship as a marriage, which it isn't, okay? This is not a marriage. This was a mistake, okay? It was simply a mistake. Like, my mind was in a mental state in LA of overcompromise. That has to do with my that has to do with my emotional pain. I thought, oh, that's the only nice man who would ever want to be with me. The only nice guy in terms of he signs petitions, he cares about animals, he cares about me, but there's a toxic side of him. People think, and he tries to tell me that also, that he is the kindest and best thing for me there is, right? That's not true, okay? It's simply not true. If I think about this long enough, I come to the conclusion that I am better off alone. Okay. That's the reality of it. I am much better off alone. I'm also a much better dog protector alone. I'm a better driver. He doesn't think so, but I know so. I'm a much more careful driver, more mindful. I'm much more considerate about other people. You know, if someone wants to pass by, go ahead, go ahead. I pull over to the side, let all these people go. And then I go, and I don't drive like crazy nowhere, okay? I drive the speed limit, okay? Mindfully. Of animals, of bicycle riders, of people with baby trolleys and stuff like that. I'm extra careful. If I lived alone in the van, if I had a dog, I would be ultra, ultra, ultra careful. You cannot imagine how ultra careful I would be. But living here, in this situation, where I have to monitor a man and dog both, that's way over my head. That's way over my capabilities. I can't do it. There's no way. No way. I can't take care of someone who is not only almost deaf, almost completely deaf. The hearing aids don't work. The hearing aids from the government, they are a taxpayer's ripoff. Okay. There's some kind of monopoly with those hearing aids corporations. They have monopolized the governmental tax money that they hawk onto themselves. Their hearing aids are BS, don't work very well. They're over-volumed. They sound out like an over-amplification. I got mad. I got so mad about that one time. I had a nervous breakdown, and I threw them down on the ground, and then they were worse afterwards. That's what I got for it. So it doesn't pay off to get an anger attack. It never does. That's why it's important to go into your own mind, not let it out on an object or another living being, particularly not. Okay. So I had a thing about letting something out on an object. So I was good for many, many years. In LA, I threw something through the glass cabinet. I threw one of his billy clubs through his mother's glass cabinet. An antique. Well, that was not the smartest thing to do, But then I was good for a couple, until that happened with the Black Lives Matter thing. The summer before last, like a year and a half ago, I had another he kept on telling me about the news, and I said, don't tell me about the news anymore. See, that's another thing. That's real toxic shit, is that. To listen to the fucking news all the time. I'm just gonna rant it all out in this video. It was at the other house, and I lost it. I warned him like 4 times that day. All day long it went on, all day long. What the Black Lives Matter people did again, and I got mad at them mainly because of what they did, lighting forests on fire. And then hearing the animals suffering and all those stories that came out of that. Little boy burned down with his puppy on his lap because of Black Lives Matter. And but I got mad at him too. I kept saying, don't tell me about this anymore. I have Asperger's. I can only take in that much. If you overload me any more than this, something is gonna give out in here, okay? Something is gonna snap. And I kept warning him like 4 or 5 times that day. I said, if you keep it up, if you keep telling me about this, he was on the computer, monitoring the situation, kept on telling me about it. I said, don't do any more. Don't tell me any, and that's been going on all summer long. So that was not just one day, but he has really driven me systematically into snapping. And I let it out on my bed. I cried. I did activism on the internet, writing, making videos about this and so on. I wasn't even in the chat room at that time for many months during that summer. And kept it up. He kept on telling me about it, and at some point I lost it. And I threw a chair towards the glass cabinet, which missed it. I'm so glad. That could have also easily hit my artwork, which missed my artwork. It bounced off the wall. And then I threw some dishes. And then I threw an entire pot of the stove. I threw all the pots off the stove. And whoever watches this video is never gonna have me adopt a dog ever again. Okay, so luckily I'm talking about this now at 47.21 seconds, 47 minutes and 25, 26, 27, 28 seconds. So hopefully people don't watch my videos that long, okay? But I have to talk about it. This is my therapy moment. Okay, that happened. I threw all of that down. The pot contained soup. It ended up on the floor. He had put rugs down to protect the linoleum floor. The rugs soaked up that soup. We couldn't even pull the rug out because there were very heavy shelves. There's a heavy shelf standing on those rugs. That would be enormous work to take everything off the shelves, to take them off, to take the rug out. So he cleaned it all up. He cleaned up the mess, but I'm glad he did, because he knew that he is also partly responsible for this, at least 50%. Because I had told him, don't talk to me anymore about it. I'm going to snap. And I also told him I'm not cut out for taking care of someone with Alzheimer's who has anger issues. I can't do it. I could take care of an older person. I might even be able to change an older person's diapers if that person is ultra sweet and grateful and is not defiant to my health advice and to reason, to make things work in that household, right? I think I could. If that person is ultra sweet and grateful, I could do it. I almost got a job doing that here in this area. I made one mistake. I brought Paul with me to that intake interview, which blew it, because he started yelling at me right in front of those people. As we were sort of like apprenticing that day for them. He started to holler at me in their kitchen. Well, I knew right there's no way they would hire me. Particularly not with Paul and me, which they thought was going to be the case. So they could clearly see he's not going to let me do anything on my own. It would always be Nicola and Paul. Okay. So. Yeah, the old lady was very sweet. I could have been there for her. I could have made her life easy and good. But with Paul there shouting at me, reprimanding, nagging, no way, no chance. I put up with this for over 20 years. Why? Why did I put up with this? Because of over-compromising, of thinking, oh, this is the only nice guy. Nice guy. Wait a minute. I have to put that in quotation marks, right? What would be better? Now, I can think about these scenarios. What would be better? And I'm going to bring up an example from real life in a moment. But what would be better if I, like an hypothetical example now, what would be better, to live with a nice guy who cares about animals, signs petitions? That's all good. That's nothing. This is, I'm grateful, right? But then he's negative and he shouts at me, finds fault with me all day long. He's telling me, if you're exposed to the haters on the internet for too long, that can mess with your brain. That can make you suicidal. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, he's not looking at himself here. He's projecting, not looking at himself. He thinks he is scot-free and clean as a slate. Right, with this. Like, no, that's not toxic, right? No, he's a saint. Total. He can't do anything wrong. It's always other people. It's other people's fault. They did it. If you hadn't done it, but then I wouldn't have. It's like, hello, I was telling him in the van. Are you taking any responsibility for this? What happened today? Like any? Yeah, I am. That didn't sound very convincing, though. I don't think his ego takes any responsibility, It's like more like, yeah. Get off my back. Yeah, but you Okay, so you're not taking any responsibility then. Alright, I guessed it. And this has been going on for all these years. Same pattern. On the very first date with him, which was, we were just friends for like several months. On the very first time he took me hiking with the dogs, he would be missing, he would already be kind of like a little bit confused. Be missing the signs on the freeway. And then he would be shouting at me and blaming me for not helping him. I don't know that all these different routes and freeways and overpasses and underpasses. My gosh. LA, man, is confusing. I don't even think I could drive down those roads there unless I had like someone, my mother or someone sitting there with a map and pointing out where to go. Always blaming everyone else. It's always someone else's fault. Everything is never his own fault. It's always the government. It's always people in the government. It's always the public, the populace body. Other people, humans. It's everyone else's fault, mistake, that things are going this way or that way. The other drivers, on the road. How can he drive like that? Bro, he drives like that, okay? So, what are you gonna do about it? Okay? All you can do about it is you focus on your own mind and your own van and your own path, right? That's ahead of you. You see someone driving on bath salts, you pull over, you wait, right? How can they do? They do, okay? They're not right either. They're not quite right in the head, okay? So, it's your responsibility to drive carefully instead of getting into, like, shock and anger and disbelief over how other people are behaving, and then ranting about this for the next 10 hours straight. Oh, man. I have often gone into a real angry lecturing for hours. I'll get into. Once I've had enough, I'd start to stand there in the middle of the living room in front of him and give him 2 hour or 3 hour angry shouting lecture with lots and lots of F words. And then he will sink into his recliner chair and he won't say anything anymore. And he'll be real regretful and say, yeah, you're right. Well, an hour later, he's just the same way as before again. There is no insight or anything, and particularly not if I start to get mad. I can get mad for the rest of my life now and lecture him for the rest of my life. There will not be an insight coming from him. Okay. It's just it has been gradually getting worse and worse and worse and worse with him. I met him when he was like 43, and I was 34. And we were just friends for a while. Then I finally gave into it, which was a mistake. Okay? That was never good. Okay, ever. The people in the chat room know the story. I'm not going to get into it now. But over compromising. Oh, the only nice guy. So I gotta stick with that. So now here's the hypothetical example. Should I stick with someone like that? Who is that toxic and negative and blames everyone else and blames the person he's living with? The next of kin basically to let out, to use as a garbage dumpster. That's a red thread throughout my entire life. Nikki the garbage dumpster. It shows up everywhere I go. It could be on the internet, in chat rooms, on Facebook, in person. Doesn't matter where I go. Animal welfare groups that we attend, environmental stewardship groups. It doesn't matter where I go to, I end up being dumpstered by everyone. Okay, that is the things I get for my input and help. I don't know how to dissolve this energetic pattern. All I can do is in order for me to heal, is if I don't blame other people. I mean, I have to come to some kind of like an inventory, which I'm doing now with this video here. I'm doing an inventory on this. This is an inventory video. I'm making this video for myself to become very crystal clear on where do I want to go with my life from here. What if we have a dog and this happens after a year of bonding with the dog? I will snap. I will drive over to that tall bridge. And I will run and fling myself over the railing before I even start to think about it more clearly, right? There's no telling what I might do. There are some people here I hate. I might get into a real angry verbal confrontation with them. Who knows? I'm not even gonna go into that direction now with my thought. Okay, so if things aren't working out, Tony Robbins and Elon Musk said, change your approach. Okay. If things are not working in a specific way, with specific people, with specific situations, change your approach. Okay. How do I change my approach? By staying with the same person? No, certainly not. Okay. So this has been coming now for so long. Okay. Before we got the dog, it was 2 days before we got the dog. That was also not planned with the dog. I see the dog, I fall in love with him like on first sight. So that's my dog. Gorgeous, humongous alien pumpkinhead. The American Bully. I love those. Gorgeous. So I wasn't thinking about, man, that dog is hyper active. That dog is like a notch too hyperactive, right? So am I prepared for that? No. Is he prepared for that? Like, hell no. Okay? So, but 2 days, it was 2 days before we came back here and then stopped at the animal shelter in Oregon. 2 days before that, I was so close to leaving him. I was closer to leaving him than I had ever been before in that during the time from the last time I had actually left him until now. So I have left him 4 times, but then over-compromising, thinking, I need to be grateful, he's a nice guy. Yeah, I need to go back. He's better than my mother. Yeah, that's not so hard to do, right? Oh, he's better than Freddy Krueger and those guys that tied up their pitties in the front yard to make them mean. Yeah, he's better than those. Yes, that's a heck of a lot better than those. Or the cocaine dealer in LA, the street cocaine vendor. Was like a bulb, or I don't know, he had like a bulb of cocaine in his socks or something. Why would I go for someone like that, you know? But then once he told me about that, I was like, I wasn't that interested anymore. Oh man. Can you imagine if I had that kid with that guy? Can you imagine, you know? That's just a message to anyone out there who thinks, you know, to any woman out, I see so many women, they're like desperate to have a child. Do you understand, you know, if you date a cocaine vendor on the streets of LA, you have a kid with that person, you know that there are some problems coming towards the child? I mean, that the child's life is gonna be a freaking mess, right? But they're fundamentalists, so they ignore that part. Alright, whatever. But it's like, at least I have some reason in my head. I use my prefrontal cortex. But then I overcompromise, and I think I need to be with someone who is, you know, the sneaky toxicity. You know? He's not like, the situation is not like in your face criminal, right? If someone is like in your face criminal, you know what to do. You leave. Bye. Yeah. It's very quick and easy. It's a no-brainer, you know. Someone is like that Javad, kicks me into my legs, he's done. Javad's finished. Completely done. Never comes into my sphere of existence again. A man hits me one time, he's done. I'm done with him. For good. But then I get into a relationship with someone, or friendship, companion living situation, and put up with this kind of angry, the constant accusing me, constantly blaming me and everyone else, the negativity. That's like a creeping type of violation. I don't want to put up with this anymore. So, what's better, being with someone like that, or let's say being with someone who, I don't know. I almost said being with someone who's an alcoholic but doesn't give a shit about anything. I don't know. I'm not so sure. But, you know, it's better to be with someone who is maybe naively blissful, leaned back. I'm gladly taking over your life and running things. Just don't be defiant when I give you reasonable advice. Right? Don't be, I mean, if that guy is cool, you know, and not defiant, if he eats his weed cookies, I don't allow that smoke in the air. So you can make tea with that stuff. You can make cookies with it, but don't put it in the air where I have to breathe it, you know. And certainly not tobacco products. Okay, so, and even if he drinks some beer, that doesn't get into the air. I don't breathe the beer in the air. So that would not be an OCD issue so much. I would rather be with someone who doesn't do any of these things. But let's say I have to compromise again. Like, if the whole world consists of people like that, then what choices do I have left, right? Is there anyone left? Maybe some Mormons or Jehovah's Witnesses or Seventh-day Adventists. Okay, so there's a chance maybe to find friends like that. I'm just talking friends right now, or maybe like a live-in, move-in type of companion situation or whatever. Roommates. I'm not even talking about romantic relationship. So maybe, but then they're going to be proselytizing, and I'm gonna at some point be giving a really, really stern lecture, and that'll be the end of it. They'll be move out, or I move out, right? If Jehovah's Witnesses, if they figure out they can't convert you, they get pissed. They won't even talk to you. They won't even recognize you in the store, even after talking to you for like 10 weeks and becoming friends. But they always have to bring up Jehovah, and they're told to do that, indoctrinated. Right? They have to do this, or they go to hell or something. But then they are interested in you, as long as they can do their proselytizing on the side as well, so that they have done their duty to Jehovah. And then after 10 weeks, the elders say, bro, this isn't going anywhere. You can't convert that green witch there. You better stay far away from her. She sees me in the store, won't even recognize me. Okay. So all of this, it's like, is this species insane or something? But again, I can rant about this also. I can go into rants, for sure. But I have a responsibility. I live here in this world, obviously. So what is my responsibility? Being surrounded by indoctrinated people, or people that are totally down and out and doing themselves in with slow suicide of weed, alcohol, and drugs, and nicotine. Okay, so how do I live my life in a world like this, surrounded by those kind of people? Again, this is not a judgment from the sky perspective. I'm just saying it the way it is. Okay. Am I the only sober, non-indoctrinated person who stands up against injustice? Maybe I am, right? Thank you, Blue God. 111. That is the Blue God watching over me for sure. So he said, yes, you are. You're the only... No, it's not true. There are others. But maybe the next one lives in France. My friend Sandy. So, yeah. Well, they're certainly not my next door neighbors. So I don't know how to go through this. I don't know what to do. But right now, this situation isn't going anywhere. This is a stuck situation. Completely, utterly stuck. Okay? And it's been stuck for a very, very long time. Okay? And I got to get the heck out of here. I cannot stay in this situation. I can't. I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. Okay, anyway, take care. Peace and bliss for all living beings. And keep your dogs safe and warm and protected, so they can't escape and run out. Okay. Stay with your animals at all times. Okay. And be overprotective. You cannot be too careful. Okay. So